Children's early education is a multi-billion-dollar industry. China's rising middle class and the relaxation of the one-child policy is set to expand this market even further. Today, we'll learn how some Chinese entrepreneurs incorporated the internet into early child education.
One is head.
Ningjing is a young mother working in Shanghai. She has long struggled to find a good way to teach her 5-year-old English. Then she found an app called Jili Guala about 6 months ago. The videos, cartoons and songs on the app have ignited her child's interest in English, while its social platform allows her to interact with other mothers.
Trying to figure out how to teach our children English. In the app's community, we can share experiences and strategies with each other. This is a great guidance for us new mothers.
Tony and Kathy, the Taiwanese couple behind Jili Guala, are very experienced with tech development from Silicon Valley. They said the reason the app is very well received among other parents is because they developed it with their own children.
We select all the content and subjects for the app based on whether our children like them. They're always the first to try all of our ABC courses, including the family activity courses. We let them try them out and play around with them. We find out if they think they're okay and seem to have a great time using them. Only then we send the finished courses to our users.
After going online for 1 year, Jili Guala has already more than 2 million users, with a high percentage of active users. The company has received investment from babytree.com and Junfund. New Oriental, one of the biggest English language teaching companies in China, also released their introductory English app for children aged 0 to 6 in 2011. The company incorporated child psychology in its app's development and created a program fronted by the cartoon lion Donut.
He often says that he's like Donut the lion because he knows that he represents courage and strength. For instance, when he goes to get vaccinated, he acts brave and says, "Mommy, I'm just as brave as Donut." Through this app, he's learned that he can be just as brave as Donut and that he can train his mental and physical skills.
The Donut app now has more than 20 million active users since it was released on the Apple Store and the Android market. Chen Wanqing from New Oriental explains why she thinks the product is successful.
Our app mainly covers 3 subjects: language, math, and one that uses stories to teach social skills. Ever since we first began working on this product, we followed the highest international standards and developed content that respects the way children think. We are also very experienced with teaching children language. These 2 things together have made it a hit with both children and parents.
Jili Guala is still building its user base and is free to download. While New Oriental's app already has 20 million users, most new downloads are still free. Paid downloads still account for less than 1% of New Oriental's total revenue. So how to balance the budget is one of the main problems that all children education apps have to face.
Just a reminder, you can use your smartphone to scan the QR code on the bottom of your screen to find the latest and all previous episodes of New Money. And to begin today's discussion, Professor Jia Ning joins me in the studio. She is Deputy Director at the China Business Case Center at Tsinghua University. So Professor Jia, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks.
Before we start talking about all these companies, can you tell me about the market potential for all these education-based applications?
Right. I think the sector definitely has potentials for several reasons. One is the market, the users are already quite mature. So in the sense that if you look at the users of these online education apps, these are parents with very young children. And in China, we're talking about people who are born in the 80s or even 90s.
Even
right?
90s.
Even 90s, exactly. So they're already main internet users. So as vendors, you don't have to try very hard to convince them to use these educational apps. Right? So that's so there's no additional user cultivation or education in that sense. And second second reason is there is a recent regulatory change that actually China just abandoned the one-child policy and allowed each family, each couple actually to have 2 children, right? So this is actually in favor of education-related product and services. And a third reason is actually the rise of this internet era, right? So basically, the basic infrastructure is getting better and better. With the 4G, internet will become faster and faster, and also there will be a lot more business that's being conducted online. So the overall trend is also in favor of online apps.
Well, Professor Jia, since I don't have children of my own, I'm not really familiar with children-based, education-based applications. But what are some of the must-have features for an application exclusively dedicated to kids?
Well, I think these kind of applications needs to be both educational and entertaining. So it needs to be entertaining in order to attract more children, to like the product, because children don't lie, right? It's not one of those apps where you can just subsidize users heavily to acquire new user base. For education apps tailored towards children, it needs to be fun so that children want to watch it, because you can't force them to do anything nowadays. But at the same time, they also need to be educational, because after all, it's the parents who are paying for these softwares or applications. Now, in China, parents, they are willing to pay a lot for their children's education, right? However, they don't like to pay for pure products that are pure entertaining in nature, right? So you need to incorporate some kind of educational elements into the products or applications so that the parents are willing to pay for it.
So on these education-based applications that we looked at, how easy actually it is to replicate this kind of model?
Well, I think all these businesses more or less have a common development path or model, right? So usually when this company started, they developed this high-quality app, with high-quality contents, so that more users will actually download this particular applications. However, the challenge with this particular model is it's a one-way communication, right? So your users are passively communicating with you. It's a one-way talk. So in order to actually increase customer stickiness, usually the application companies will build a online community, right, as the second step. So basically the users can get together on the online community and then basically have some kind of interaction. So this is one way to basically create customer stickiness onto your platform. However, the challenge with the second step is it still doesn't bring you any revenues. You still can't generate any profit from this online community. So the third step usually is by adding this e-commerce component, right? So for example, once the parents are on this baby bus or this educational platforms, then you can try to sell parents some additional related goods or services, right, and try to make profit from it.
And we certainly know that young parents are surely to splurge on their children.
That's right.
Of that age, right?
That's right.
Especially for education.
Yeah.